That's legit. Look, when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, and I'm happy, trust me.
What do
It's
you
our
mean?
last show of the year. Got the Doobie Awards. We got Cousin Nick coming on.
If you and I just
have
agreed on
Mark and
everything,
Vanyas.
but if you and I agreed
Yeah,
on everything,
no,
would
no.
that be even like?
No,
yeah,
this is what we do.
Yeah, Bonte,
No,
you're
no,
right.
no.
Yeah, Shasky,
Look.
you're right.
Look. It's been a mess of a year so far for the Golden State Warriors.
It's been
It's
bad.
been a mess.
It's
And it
been
started
bad.
in training camp.
Yes.
When they were in Japan
Yes.
and they came back from Japan, I felt so good about this team. It was a palate cleanser because the Niners were struggling. The Giants, we knew, sucked. Actually, they were limping their way to 81-81. And I was just like, damn, we got the Warriors back. They start off the season, 3-2. They get beat, give up like 60-plus to Denver on that first Friday night at Chase Center. All right, whatever. Then they go on the road, and they go 0-5 on that road trip. And they start 3-7. And I'm just like, damn. And now it just leads me to believe that with this trade deadline coming up February 9th, this will be the most interesting, I guess intriguing, whatever word you want to use, deadline for the Golden State Warriors. Now, do they make a move? I have no idea. Do they stand pat? I have no idea. What if they fall out of the race and decide to trade Draymond Green? I have no idea. I have no clue what's going to happen here. But I did not anticipate them being 15-18 at this point of the season and looking this bad on the road and still having question marks about James Wiseman and Moses Moody. And if I had one issue, the number one issue with the way the season has gone, Shasky, is the handling of the youngsters. The way they handle the youngsters early in the year.
Okay.
Kuminga all of a sudden is getting DMPs. He can't play. But you're playing Wiseman. And then at one point, you're playing all five youngsters. And then at one point, you're not playing Moody, but you're playing Kuminga, and you're sending John Wiseman to the G League. Again, the first 10 to 15 games, the youngsters should have played at least 15 minutes a night. At least. To where they didn't have to look over their back and just play. And you should have mixed them up with the starters. Let Kuminga play with Steph a little bit. Let Wiseman play with Poole and Clay a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, to let them just go out there and die by themselves, and then everybody's pointing the finger at the youngsters. That mishandling of the youngsters annoyed me. All right? It annoyed me. The starters, let's be real, they blew a game in Orlando. And at the end of the game, they blew a game in Miami. They blew a game. They blew the game in Charlotte, up 4 with a minute left, and then losing it overtime. Your veterans lost that. So it's just been a tumultuous start for the Golden State Warriors, and you could point the finger at everybody, but how did they fix it? Well, you get Wiggins back hopefully on Christmas Day, and you get Clay back. That sure the hell could help.
So you're keep pointing to the punch, which a lot of people are going to point to.
Not my first
I'm not
issue.
saying you're not saying,
but the vibe changed after that.
That's undeniable. Like anybody that wants to argue, but it's undeniable at this point. I was asking you, like, wait a minute, Clay isn't playing during the summer, and everyone's like, oh no, that's okay. But that did set them back early on in the season. It set him back early on in the season. That's I think that's undeniable as well. And then when your Iron Man, Andrew Wiggins, who hasn't missed any games in multiple years, when he goes down, that's a monkey wrench that none of us could foresee. And that to me should have been the first thing, like, Joe, this might not be their year. Now, look, I know they just won it all. I don't want to be Debbie Downer. I'm saying, how can a Warrior fan who has watched this team night in and night out sit here and say, this version of the team, with all of the reality that's going on with Steph hurt, with Wiggins hurt, with them trying to figure out what's going on with their bench, and all this, how can you sit here and say that this is even, right now, a championship caliber team?
No, it's not.
We got to go step by step. I'm not even sure they're a playoff team. Now, I want to believe, because of the benefit of doubt that they've earned, that they should be.
Without
But their
Steph
road
and Wiggins,
record, Bonte, their road record's undeniable.
Without Steph and Wiggins right now, they're terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible. And with that said, Sacramento's sitting at 6, and they're 3.5 back of the Kings for the 6th spot. You got to start winning some games here on the road. 12-2 at home, and you got an 8-game homestand coming up. And I think they can go no less than 5-3 on this 8-game homestand. And they got a back-to-back in there. Is Clay going to be able to play it? Is Rick Celebrini going to sign off on that? If not, how do you replace Klay Thompson? How do you win those games? How do you steal a game here and there? How do you start to win on the road? You know what I'm saying? Like that's so my frustration is It's with the handling of the youngsters. The youngsters haven't developed in a way that I wanted them to. But
Yeah.
how can I fault them, man? You're throwing them into the fire with the vets. The vets haven't done a good job of holding leads.
Agreed.
I'll say this, Clay's been inconsistent.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Jordan Poole has been inconsistent.
He's been horrific at times and really good at times.
Right.
And it feels like nothing in between.
Draymond, if I could just get him to be aggressive, like he was in Toronto on Sunday. Can I get that every game?
Well, I need him now more than ever. With Wiggins out, with Curry out, I need him more than ever. And it feels like you get the flash where he scores the 3 threes early in the game the other day, but then it's like it's just not enough.
Right. So Looney kind of hit a wall on that road trip, and I can't fault him. He's played in 144 straight games, 144 consecutive games. Looney's going to hit a wall here and there. He needs 3 days off. I got no problem with Loon Dog. I think we agree. Steph is Steph. He's the one.
He's the outlier.
Guy.
He's the reason
outlier.
why you have. If you are like Joe, you're panicking. There's still shit. It's because of Steph,
Right,
and
it's
I
'cause
don't
of Steph.
deny that. If you
Wiggins-
had Michael Jordan, I would say the same thing.
Right.
If you had Kevin Durant, I would say the same thing. Like that's the benefit of the doubt Steph gets. Without him,
oh, it's not good.
Yeah.
I think we all can agree. Wiggins is your second best player.
100%.
We know that.
I think there's an
Everybody can agree
argument on
with
a
that.
night-to-night basis who the third best player is.
It's a night-to-night basis.
Exactly.
It's on matchups.
Exactly.
It's on matchups. I need more from Draymond Green. He scored 12 points in 4 to 5 games on this road trip. He played in 5 games. He had the 17-point night in Toronto. The other 4 games, he scored 12. But he's got the player option. What do you do there? What do you do? JaMychal Green, inconsistent. Soon as Dante DiVincenzo turns a quarter, boom.
I know. It sucks.
And now
they miss him bad.
Not only do you have the injury worries now you got the Bob Myers situation, Looney. Bob doesn't have a contract.
Oh, I don't even want to think of that.
Steve also gets some money. I did not, going into the new year, think that the Warriors would be this much of a mess. They're just a mess right now.
I know.
And to go out there in Brooklyn and New York, it's one thing to get beat. They just weren't physical. They didn't look like they cared. And they let the Knicks steamroll them. First of all, you lose to the New York Knicks by 38 points at the Garden. You played at Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. And you get blown out by 38. And then last night, you allowed the Nets to score 46 points in the first quarter and then 45 in the second. Watching that game, I just said, damn, they don't even want to be there. Like Jordan Poole's face didn't even want to be there. Ben Simmons took him out of the game in 3 minutes.
All the youngster talk and the trade and this, like, I know you disagree with me on this. I'm telling you, for right now, just seeing this, with not seeing Wiggins for a couple of weeks, which they've really missed him, no idea where Steph's going to be at. Even before the Wiggins injury and the Steph injury, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if their top 6 is good enough. I know it was last year. A lot of things fell their way. I'm not taking it away from them. They made the most of all those opportunities. They were awesome. But to expect good fortune and good health as the team gets older is asking a lot.
No doubt.
There's a lot of tread on the tires. They were very lucky that Steph is. How many guards have been this good at 34 years old?
Not many.
I know. Health and nutrition and what he does with his body. He's an outlier. I get that. But like to think Dre wasn't going to slip a little, to think Clay was going to, like, what he did is miraculous in the playoffs. It's not, I think 10 years from now, we'll really like, wow, what he did was really miraculous.
No
Today, I'm probably not even close to appreciating what he did. But to think that he would be, inconsistent early, like, I kind of did expect that, honestly. Even though everyone's like, he'll be better next year, he'll be better. It's like, oh, no.
So you look at the way they play, only 6 times this year in 33 games, the Warriors have shot more free throws than their opponent.
Well,
so they're not getting to the free throw line.
They have a historic disparity between what the opponent is shooting and what they're shooting from the free throw line.
The points of the paint is not favoring them.
No. They're not athletic.
They're
not
fouling.
long. Yeah.
They're getting blown by. So I'm not saying trade right now. I do think it will be intriguing February 9th what happens, though. What happens February 9th? Do you roll with the youngsters? Is Wiseman a fit? Because here's my issue with Wiseman. And it's not Wiseman himself. It's the coaching staff. If you drafted him to be Andrew Bogut and Festus and Zaza, well, you drafted the wrong guy. This guy can get buckets. He's offensive driven. Defense will come later, hopefully. And it starts with positioning, not being in the restricted area, grabbing more rebounds. He's got to become a menace on the boards. That's a work. Same thing with Kuminga. They got to attack the glass, grab rebounds, go get that ball, be ferocious on the glass. It's not there yet for him. But, like, if you wanted him to just, hey, set screens and pass out of the split action and pass out of the mid-post, dude, that's not James Wiseman. So you drafted the wrong guy. And that, to me, is on the scouting department. It's on the coaching staff for not developing him. Go out to the G League for what? Get numbers? For what? He's not going to play that way with the Golden State Warriors.
So the Wiseman thing is interesting because I think we're recalibrated to what the team is now and not what they were when they drafted him. We thought when they drafted him, like, they might not have another opportunity to draft someone with high upside. Like, I think it's easy in retrospect to say they should have taken a more polished player. I think the majority of Warrior fans were still in the denial mode. We're like, we're not going to be drafting that high ever again.
No doubt.
This is a once in a generation opportunity, and you got to take a guy with the highest possible upside. And I think that's what they thought they were doing.
And I still agree with the pick. I'm not going to do the revisionist history where, people, oh, man, you could have got Tyrese Halliburton or LaMelo Ball. I'm not going there.
And let's also remember, like, 2019, they went to the finals, but KD was on the team. 2020, Steph hurt his hand.
And Clay was out.
But we really didn't even know, like, how much better is Steph? Like, I think the last couple of years has really cemented who he is as an individual player.
No doubt.
I think his legacy as a teammate was already cemented, but I think he's elevated himself the last 2 years.
Right.
And that's before they picked Wiseman. And then the night Wiseman gets hurt, the night Clay gets hurt, they draft Wiseman. Like, I think it's easy to go back with revisionist history and say they should have taken this guy or that guy. I remember nobody wanted LaMelo Ball.
Nobody.
This thing that they wanted LaMelo.
Yeah,
nobody
it's a
wanted.
lie. It's a flat-out lie.
Yeah, nobody wanted
it's a flat-out
LaMelo
lie.
Ball.
Nobody wanted Halliburton either.
No.
Nobody really wanted Halliburton that high.
Not that high.
You would have had to trade down.
And
a lot of teams didn't want to trade down in that draft. They didn't.
No.
They were like, no, we're going to stand pat. The Bulls floated a rumor about Wendell Carter Jr. or whatnot to get the Warriors to bite. But that was it. So the Warriors are in some funk, man. They're in some trouble. They are in some trouble. And then, look, people every day, again, in my life, there's three things they want to talk about. Brock Purdy. They want to talk about the Giants and how they're whiffing on everybody. And they want to talk about how the punch affected the team.
Well, that's, I mean.
And there's a lot of people in the basketball world who think karma got the Warriors this year for the way that was handled. So, look, that's not going away. And especially if you continue to lose games, that's never going to go away. That's the worst part about it. We're all hoping that, you know what? Maybe you start 18-13, or maybe you start 18-15, or you're 19-14, or you're 20-13, and you're at the top of the West. Nobody's talking about that. But you're 3 games under 500. It steps out for at least another 2.5, 3 weeks. At least.
That would be a total of what, 5 to 6 weeks, I guess, essentially.
Yeah. He's not even lifting the basketball right now.
And that's being optimistic. And that's being optimistic. But that's kind of where I'm at. Like, so, like, I know we want to make this trade and everything. I'm going to go in the other direction. And I'm not. It's just, it might not be their year. Now, maybe I'm proven wrong. No, but in my estimation, if you're a Warrior fan and you take a deep breath, taking a little step back in the next couple of weeks and letting the youngsters get their footing. You're going to have to take a step back, let them find themselves a little. I don't think that they're allowed to breathe and make mistakes because you're trying the pressure cooker of winning.
But Kurt, Lacob's paying a luxury tax.
No, I know
he's
that.
Sitting up there, he's not going to sit. He wants the youngsters to play, but he also wants to win.
You're already set into the luxury tax, so you're already paying.
But he wants to win.
I get that.
Lacob's not going to sit here and say punt the season.
But what I would tell him
luxury tax.
But what I would tell him is that if you truly believe in these young players, which I feel like they do, if you truly believe in them, you owe it to yourself to take a step back, play them a little longer, stop with the Ty Jerome minutes.
That's on Steve Kerr.
No, I agree. And take the step back, and then maybe 4-5 weeks from now, they're all in a little bit better spot. And I'm not saying they're going to be, championship pieces or whatever, but it'll pay dividends down the stretch. It'll pay dividends next year and the year after that.
We don't know who's going to be here next year.
Because the other way I look at it.
Draymond may not be here next year. Klay Thompson's going to be on his last year of the deal. Steph's going to be 35.
Vontae,
you have a championship window like this, you can't blow it.
Well, so then, okay, let's play it out in your direction. So you have a championship window, you can't blow it. And you make a bunch of deals, and now you got no future, and now you're the Houston Rockets?
Listen. Let's be real. Once Steph retires.
Of course.
It's going to be some dark days around
Of course. I mean, look at San Antonio.
Exactly. So let's like this whole thing, like, the future, we got to have once Steph retires because he's the system. That's the system.
I agree with that. But why
retires,
can't you build a team around an aging Steph Curry that doesn't have Draymond and Klay Thompson also there as centerpieces clogging up 80% of the cap?
Well, Clay's going to be here. They're not going to trade Clay.
But I'm asking you that question.
I don't.
See, I think we can.
I don't think these pieces, like, is Kuminga going to be ready? Like, it's
no.
twilight.
No.
Is Poole going to be ready to take over the throne? He's struggling against top defenders in the league. Ben Simmons took Poole out in the first 3 minutes of the game, and he was never heard from ever again.
Bonte, this is part of the taking a step back. Jordan Poole now got the money. Jordan Poole is now someone that you're going to be building around for the long term. He ascended. Now he has to adjust to the league adjusting to him.
This is interesting.
This is part of the growing process.
This is interesting. 888-957-9570.
I would take the step back.
How many Warrior fans are willing to take a step back and let the young guys play and sacrifice the season? That's basically what you're doing.
I mean, are you? So
Ty
Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb and JaMychal Green are actually going to salvage the season while Steph Curry's out.
No.
That sounds insane.
No. That's what you said. I'm not saying that at all.
So Jakob Poeltl right now, I'm just saying, hypothetically, you trade for Jakob Poeltl, Miles Turner, the season is saved.
I don't want those guys.
Okay, then what do you want?
I don't want those guys. I'm asking you. You take a step back. Moody, Kuminga, Wiseman.
Yes.
They play all these minutes.
Yes.
Are you going to win games?
No, but I don't think you're winning that many games even if you make a trade for a veteran.
How's Steph going to feel about that? I mean, don't you think Steph wants to win?
Of course he does.
Steve Kerr wants to win?
Of course they do.
Joe Lacob wants to win?
Of course they do. They wanted to win in 2020.
How do you sell that to the fan base that's paying top dollar Chase Center? You talk about the consumer all the time.
Doubt.
That's what you always talk about.
I know.
Paying top dollar Chase Center to go buy tickets.
Injuries, the way I phrase this, guys, injuries happen. We're trying to make the best of the situation. Now we're trying to, make our assets as best as they can be. And here's the thing. If they start to show promise, Bonte, it's a double-edged sword. Not only can they maybe help you, maybe they have more value on the open market. They're at the lowest they possibly could be. Moses Moody's value is at the lowest it can be.
Maybe.
James Wiseman's value is at the lowest it can be. And you can say, Joe, there's a sucker all around. I don't think some veteran playing 20 minutes. Miles Turner, I'm just using him as an example. Right. Miles Turner is not making them all of a sudden a over 500 road team.
There's not a player out there that's jumped out to me on the trade market.
That's what I'm saying.
There hasn't.
So I would just be dedicated to playing young players.
But think about the pieces that they had last year that helped them win a championship. If they were on the market right now, GP2, Otto Porter Jr., Bielitsa, they wouldn't pop out to us. We'd be like,
No, because the way that they play is a very specific way.
It's all about fit.
Yeah.
And Jakob Poeltl kind of fits. Now, am I willing to trade a high-priced youngster like a Wiseman? Not really. Miles Turner? Not really. Kelly Olynyk? Not really.
I'm being serious. You really think while Steph's out for the next 4 weeks, Jakob Poeltl keeps them in the game?
You're not winning many games.
Okay, then.
Without Steph, you just got to tread water.
And then knowing that,
the way I think is
they're not treading
Steph
water.
Gets back.